Hi, my name is Sato, and I'm an 11th grader at Koreaville High School in Koreaville. I'm originally from Japan and moved to the States during my sophomore year. After moving here, I took Art 2 honors where I practiced charcoal, watercolor, and pencil drawing and learned more professional techniques. With this background in mind, I would like to present the pieces that I have completed last semester. This is a charcoal drawing that I made myself. In this piece, I especially focus on this clothing. The shirt has stripe patterns and wrinkles around the neck. So it was challenging to draw each line, but because I put so much effort to it, the clothing actually became my favorite part of the picture. My face doesn't have many contours, so it was difficult to decide where to place the shadows. I used powdered charcoal and blended it carefully to make the face look more like me. This is a colored pencil project, and it was my first time using only colored pencil. Because of that, even though the piece is small, it took a long time to finish it. I tried my best to show the texture of the cream by laying many different colors like beige, yellow, and gray instead of just using white. At first, the surface looked uneven, but I kept laying the colors. It gradually gained a glossy photo-like finish. I really enjoyed this project, so I want to try more colored pencil piece this year. I painted this using watercolor, and it's one of my favorite pieces. I drew my mom's cousin's dog, and I remember spending a lot of time figuring out how to show the texture of the fur and the shape of the nose. I usually draw people, so sometimes my animals ended up look too human. Because of that, I paid extra attention to the proportions to make sure the dog still looked like a dog. By the way, when we took the reference photo, we held trees next to the camera so both dogs would look forward and smile. That's why I titled this piece, Waiting for a Treat. I used watercolor to paint grapes and glass bottle. Unlike the watercolor technique I usually use, I didn't build up layers this time. Instead, I created lights and shadow by letting the colors blend and bleed naturally. When painting the grapes, I made the backgrounds darker and added yellow to the front to show depth and distance. I especially liked using turquoise blue for the shadows. It was a bold choice, but it worked really well, and I'm happy with how it turned out. I used watercolor to paint the Peace Memorial in Hiroshima, Japan. The actual buildings look quite dark because it is the site where the atomic bomb fell. However, I intentionally painted it as light were shining on it to express a sense of hope and the idea that even a place with a painful history can still carry brightness. I am not very confident in drawing buildings, but I carefully observed where the edges were angled upwards or downwards and focused on keeping the perspective consistent. I used watercolor for this piece as well, and I remember laying a huge variety of colors. To create depth, I first added subtle blue to the shadowed area like around the eyes and under the flowers, since the deer have stronger contours than humans. Then, I slowly built up fur by laying colors in the direction of the fur. I also added unexpected colors such as red, pink, and yellow to emphasize the lights and make the bright areas stand out. Because I spent so much time and care on this piece, it became my favorite one. One technique in my portfolio that I'm particularly proud of is watercolor painting. I practiced it since elementary school, and it has become my strength. Through my experience, I've learned 3 key points: building thin layers from light to dark, using color breathing to create depth, and balancing the composition by adding details only where I want to emphasize. By practicing these techniques and experimenting with new approaches, I've developed my own style and improved the overall quality of my work. I love drawing and I want to improve my skills. which is why I am interested in participating in this governor school. In the future, I want to work in a design-related field. Although I consider myself good at drawing, when I see many artworks on social media, I realize how much I still need to improve. Every time I notice this, I always think to myself, I want to be like that. I also want to learn how other students develop their ideas. Sometimes I get stuck when planning a composition, so I hope to see different approaches and improve my creative process. Because of this, I want to practice with people and learn about their practice method and get inspired by them. I believe that governor school is the perfect place to learn these things, which is why I applied. My name is Sato again, Koreaville High School.